So we might have some wind in this. I apologize if we do. I was gonna get back on the S10 today, but it's such a beautiful sunny day, October. I decided I would spend one more day on this guy. Maybe a weekend. We'll see how things go today. But anyway, I've got Captain Crunch back out of the barn. But I thought I should give you a little yard tour. Part of the reason why I haven't made any progress in the shop is that I've been busy in the yard, and so I was just going to show you what I got cooking here. Well, there's nothing cooking, it's resting. This Model T chassis you guys know and love already. This old swather needs a water pump, and I'm having trouble sourcing one. It's a Waukesha diesel engine. The tractor you just saw in a little video, that's a school bus. Not mine. Storage. Just storing it. I'll take you along the junk row here and just show you a couple things. This tractor is a 1957 Fordson Major diesel. My dad bought the adjoining farm to where I live in 1962. I should say my mom and, well, I guess it was my dad, and then they got married that same year. But this tractor I think he bought it the following year. It was his first tractor that he owned. And it served him many years. And then it sort of stumbled along for a few more years, and then it's been sitting since then. I actually put a head gasket in this engine when I was, I don't know, in grade school. Pardon me. 13, 14, 15 years old, something like that. It was my first engine I ever took apart. And we did have it running, and then of course it got parked again, and now that it's been sitting for a long time, it's pretty, I don't know if it would be salvageable or not. I didn't have the exhaust capped, of course, so the exhaust is broken, although the manifold is not, just the pipe is here. But there's lots of, it would be an interesting experiment to try to get that going again. That would be, this trailer is something that I concocted for, I had a Toyota diesel pickup, like an 81 diesel Toyota, and so I put just a ball hitch on the flat deck that it had, and I made this little gooseneck out of an old Cockshut swather frame, and it was I joked about my 3/4 ton diesel, 1/4 ton pulling a 1/2 ton. This is a parts truck of Jake's. This was a parts truck of Jake's, although this engine is the one that's now in my JR, my OBS 1/2 ton. This truck here it sat at a neighbor's yard. All my years, growing up, I would pedal my bicycle over and look at it. It was just sitting in the trees, and I don't know when it would have been parked, but the family that lived there was gone many years. So it is half reasonably complete, aside from wheels and tires, but my main reason for getting it home was a rat rod plan at some point, possibly. One of the coolest parts, and maybe just with the sun the way it is, we'll be able to see. This lettering doesn't show up very good anymore, but it's Saskatoon Service Station. It says Avenue something and something Street. Phone 4566. So back when phone numbers were 4 digits in Saskatoon, that's a while ago. You can see the old sheet metal withstands shotgun. Pardon me. But the bullets do go through. Looks like lots of 30 cal. A couple of bigger, maybe 45, maybe 410 slugs. Oh, it's a 30 caliber. My plan was to just leave all those holes in it and just put a little mist me kind of tongue sticking out cartoon guy on the side of the, but you can see this has all the farm fixins, all your beautiful welding. Back in the day, these fenders, like all old trucks, the fenders ended up splitting and cracking from the rough roads. This one's been really, really battered up, and part of that's been me dragging it around because I had no real regard for the... Oh, can we see this side better? Saskatoon Service Station, Avenue B and 22nd Street. Phone 4566. So before that's completely gone, which I don't know, it's lasted this long, but I would love to hand letter that back on, or get somebody who actually knows how to hand letter, put it back on. The barbed wire came free with the truck. That was also free. This is just a bunch of garbage. Here's, I don't know, some of you might have been wondering why my Ford F3 has no box, and it does have a box. It's right here. I inverted it just because that's how it worked that day. I didn't want to bend the rest of the fenders. You can see the whole bottom is rotted out of it, and I don't know that I'll ever use this, but I may make something out of the sides, the front and sides and fenders. Fenders are also really bashed in. That truck having been on its head a couple times, and you can see they're rotted also. Might be a fun one for Kyle over in Warman there. Carter's Auto Restyling, if you want to learn how to make a fender like that look brand new again. But yeah, that's the box for Captain Crunch. More garbage. Although anybody who actually knows me will know that this is just an incredible cleanup that has occurred here in the last month. I mowed this whole yard and dragged a bunch of crap out of the bush that was... That old half-ton trailer and the tractor were growing into the bush here. And so yeah, that's why I've done nothing in the shop, because I've found some age-old motivation to just like seriously tidy up. But if we carry along here, along the fence line, there's one more truck cab here, which I've given away, but he's not come for it yet, so we'll see what happens. It would look good on that school bus frame. But this is a 53 Ford that I bought at an auction sale. It was a 2-ton, 3-ton, I don't know what the M, it's a Mercury actually. It'd be an M5, I believe it was. But the basic cab and front clip and hood are here and pretty, usable. But I had given it to a descendant of the Weeb, for whom the Weeb transport is. It's on the side of it, so yeah, the hood's lying there. I should pick that out of the grass before it. Also a jumped-in roof, like so many of them. So anyway, that's the yard. I don't have a huge collection. I just have a small and a fairly invaluable one. A dragger made out of grater blades. It's good to hide those things in the grass for the next guy, or even yourself. A few years down the road, you're thinking, oh yeah, here we go, smooth sailing, bang, mower blade bent. Anyway, let's get back to the shop here and talk a little. See, trucks, you gotta have some trucks, because where else are you gonna put all the shit other than on the ground? But of course, trucks get full and then it still ends up on the ground. But anyway, swather for sale. Anybody want a swather? 400 diesel, used oil tank, tractor, truck. You've seen these. You've seen everything here. Anyways, today I want to just do a little bit of, now that this thing is proven itself to actually run and drive, the front end is, the bearings are loose. I had thought the steering was, something was wonky, or the kingpins wore, or something like it. It steers horribly. But it turns out this side's worse. Got a fair bit of movement there. But when I look, it's not anything in the kingpins or the steering joints. It's actually just the bearings loosened off. So I'm gonna pull the wheels off. It's the steering's very tight, So I'm guessing those kingpins were probably last greased in about, like even with the wheels in the air, this is hard. And listen, quick crack, they're dry. Dry, dry. So I'm thinking, inspect, grease the bearings, tighten up the bearings, grease all the steering components, and let's see if we can get this thing steering nicer. Because we got the fresh new tires, like it should just ride like a, should go down the road like a Cadillac. Yes. Yeah, so that's the project for now. So this side here is the side with the bad bearing, and I've determined that it's pretty bad. It's not a great bearing. But I'll just put a bunch of grease on it and snug it up, and we'll call it good. That might be why there was no brakes, no brake fluid. I don't know though if that may have come apart as I was. That's probably, yeah, that probably wasn't that. Well, who knows? But like often happens with these drum brakes, the adjusters were seized, so I couldn't back them off. So I had to pry and break certain things here, getting the drums off. They aren't even ridged up that awfully bad, but at any rate, single piston wheel cylinders, which are single, whatever you want to call it. I've never seen one like that. The pad has a, I'm not even showing you, the pad has a place for another plunger out the back, but so somebody can maybe tell me if that's normal, or like I say, I've never seen one, but I've never had brakes apart on something this old. So cool, carry on. Well, I just realized I hadn't actually closed out that last video. Kind of got busy just working on it, and as you can see, it's 2 weeks later. We've got a little bit of snow and cold here, but truck is parked for winter now. It did help. This, on the passenger side, the kingpin is completely free and greased up and moving easily. The driver's, the top bushing on the driver's side is still sticky a little bit, but it did help. It did help free up the steering, actually quite a lot. So it's, I know now what the reasoning is behind it steering so poorly. And I look forward next year to making that actually completely better. So anyway, that's probably it for this guy for this year, unless I've got a couple of ideas. Well, I've always got more than a couple, but yeah. Until or unless I decide to work on it, it's going to sit right here. And we'll see you next year, little buddy.